the blood of Jesus.
Welcome to A Biblical Worldview. I'm your girl, Tanya Michelle, and thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Don't forget that you can follow me on my socials. And if you would like to contribute to my efforts here at A Biblical Worldview, there are a couple of links, such as my CashApp, my Buy Me a Coffee, and my Patreon, where you can donate. And any contribution you make will be greatly appreciated and will help me continue to bring you content from a biblical perspective. So let's get into it. First thing I want you to do before we even start our lesson for today is to hit that like button. Hit that like button so that I can get into the algorithm. You know the algorithm controls everything on social media, and if I can get into that algorithm, then as soon as you log on to your Rumble or your YouTube account, you will begin to see my videos in your feed. So hit that like button. You can leave some comments if you like, and you can share the video with your friends. That way the videos will get a broader reach. So today we are looking at Genesis chapter 46 again, and we're going to jump over to verse 9. We're going to do some lineage today. And you know, it's so funny because people always like to skip over the chapters that have lineage. You know, the ones in the King James Bible where it says, this person begat that person, and then he lived so many years and died. This person begat this person, and he lived so many years and died. This person begat this person, and he lived so many years and died. I know that seems like it is tedious. It seems like it's boring. It seems like it is never ending. However, I'll tell you, like I tell the ladies in my Sunday school class, we don't really need to skip over the lineage. You know why? Because the lineage sometimes gives us important information about who is related to who and how. And sometimes we'll see a name mixed in there and we're thinking, wow, okay, so this guy that we know of, he was the son of this guy? Oh, I didn't know that. And he had so many brothers, and he married somebody, and he had so many sons. I didn't know that. So this is pertinent information, so just hang with me. I always tell the ladies in my Sunday school class, if you don't want to read through them, then I'll read through them. And I have a book that I use to help me pronounce the names. And so, yeah, I'll just go ahead on and do it because I do not want us to skip the lineage. So we're going to be looking at lineage today in Genesis chapter 46, verses 9 through 27. And we're going to be reading from the Legacy Standard Bible, as is our practice on this channel. And so Genesis chapter 46, verse 9 reads like this. The sons of Reuben, Hanok and Palu and Hezron and Carmi. The sons of Simeon, Jemuel and Jamin and Ohad and Jachin and Zohar and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman. The sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath and Merari. The sons of Judah, and Onan and Shelah and Perez and Zerah. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamuel. The sons of Issachar, Tola and Puvah and Iob and Shimron. The sons of Zebulun, Sered and Elon and Jaleel. These are the sons of Leah, whom she bore to Jacob in Padanaram, with his daughter Dinah. All his sons and his daughters numbered 33. The sons of Gad, Ziphion and Haggai, Shuni and Ezbon, Eri and Arodi and Areli. The sons of Asher, Imnah and Ishva and Ishvi and Beriah and their sister Sirah. And the sons of Beriah, Heber and Malchiel. These are the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to his daughter Leah, and she bore to Jacob these 16 persons. The sons of Jacob's wife Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin. Now to Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potipherah, the priest of On, bore to him. The sons of Benjamin, Bela and Becher and Ashbel, Gera and Naaman, Ehi and Rosh, Muppin and Huppin and Ard. These are the sons of Rachel who were born to Jacob. There were 14 persons in all. The sons of Dan, Hushim, The sons of Naphtali, Jaziel and Guni and Jezer and Shalem. These are the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave to his daughter Rachel, and she bore these to Jacob, and there were 7 persons in all. All the persons belonging to Jacob who came to Egypt, who came out of his loins, excluding the wives of Jacob's sons, were 66 persons in all. And the sons of Joseph who were born to him in Egypt were 2. All the persons of the house of Jacob who came to Egypt were 70. So, this is the lineage of Jacob. All of these names represent the sons of each of the 12 sons of Jacob. These sons are the heads of each of their families, according to Numbers chapter 26, verses 5 through 6, where you can see some of this again. The names in verse 9 are the sons of Reuben. In verse 10, the sons of Simeon, Jacob's second born. So Simeon's son Ohad, he died childless, according to John Gill's commentary on verse 10. He was not the head of a family because he didn't have any children. It appears that Simeon may have remarried, possibly after the death of his first wife, since his 6th son was a son of a Canaanite woman. So from Levi's lineage came the priests and the Levites, who were in charge of the offerings and the sacrifices. Judah married a Canaanite woman who bore him 3 sons, Onan, and Shelah. And then, you know the story, he was supposed to take Shelah, the youngest one, to his daughter-in-law Tamar, who had been married to his son before his death and his son Onan before his death. And he was supposed to let her marry Shelah when Shelah was of marrying age. But Judah didn't do it. Tamar found out and she said, "Oh, that's how you want to play this." And so she took off her widow's garb and she put on her harlot's garb. And she went out into the streets and she came across Judah and she tricked him into a sexual relationship. And she was impregnated by Judah and gave birth to his 2 youngest sons, who were twins, Perez and Zerah. Issachar and Zebulun also had families, and these are the sons of Leah that she bore for Jacob while they still lived in Padanaram at her father Laban's house. Also, remember, Leah gave birth to Jacob's only daughter, Dinah. So from there was a total of 33 persons from these 6 sons. So in verses 16 and 17, we see where Gad and Asher were born to Zilpah. Remember, Zilpah was Leah's maid. She was her handmaid that her dad Laban gave to her when she married Jacob. And there were 16 persons total in their families. Joseph and Benjamin were, of course, Rachel's 2 sons, and they had 12 sons between 2 of them, and their families total 14 people. And Bilhah, who was Rachel's maidservant, bore Jacob 2 sons, Dan and Naphtali. Dan had 1 son, Naphtali had 5 sons, so there were 7 of them in total. So the whole crew packed up and moved to Egypt with Jacob, who was going to be ecstatic to see his son Joseph alive. And so this is the reason why I say the lineage is very important, because when you go back up here to, let's see, where is it? When you go back to where where's Judah's family? Okay, when you go back up to verse 12, the sons of Judah, Onan, and Shelah, and Perez, and Zerah. Remember I told you that Jesus came through the line of Judah. Well, Perez, one of the twin sons born to Tamar through her her incestuous relationship with her father-in-law, Perez is the one whose line through whom Jesus came. So if we hadn't read the lineage, guess what we wouldn't know? we wouldn't know that Jesus came through the line of Perez. We know that he came through the line of Judah, but how? We wouldn't have known which son of Judah's gave birth to the next son and the next son, and on and on and on until we get to Jesus. And so this is good information. Don't ever skip the lineage. I know it can be tedious. Sometimes these names are difficult to pronounce. And a lot of these names are not even pronounced in English. They are in, these are Hebrew names. They're in Aramaic, possibly, some of these names. And so, yes, it can be challenging, but it is worth it when you get to study and see who some of these people really are. So don't skip the lineage. Read through that and get to know these people. And I have a book. This book was published by Thomas Nelson. Oh man, it was probably published back in the 80s. It's a really, really, really old book. It's called Who Was Who in the Bible. And that book contains the name of every person who is mentioned in God's word. And typically what it does is it lists the person's name, and then out to the side it gives you a little bit of a pronunciation of how to pronounce that person's name. Then it tells you sometimes what the person's name means, tells you what passages of scripture to look for where you can find that person, gives you just a little backstory on who the person was. Of course, the longest description of a name in the Who Was Who in the Bible is a description of Jesus, because they have all the verses to describe, or all the verses in the New Testament where you can find Jesus. And then, it just tells you all about where his name was derived from, and, who he's related to and what he did, and, just his life story. So Jesus is the thickest section of pages in that book, as it pertains to giving a description of who that person is. But anyway, that is how I struggle through some of these names. I have a Who Was Who in the Bible by Thomas Nelson Publishing. Man, I don't even remember what year it was published, but it's been a long time, because I've had that book, I know, well over 20 years. That book is kind of worn, a little bit falling apart. Maybe if I do another lineage or something, I will bring the book with me and I will show it to you. I don't have it with me right this moment, but anyway, those names in the lineage, I encourage you to study those. So anyway, well, that's my time. Thank you so much for stopping by Biblical Worldview. Don't forget to leave a like under the video, and I will see you next time.